Well, hey there, everyone. It's Mrs. Asaro, and I am here to teach your class how to write a poem. Today, we're going to be focusing on writing a very specific type of poem called a color poem, and you'll be using the skills of metaphor and simile. My name is Mrs. Asaro, and I have an online teaching store called All-in-One Middle School. I was a teacher for 34 years, and teaching language arts was my passion, and my specialty was teaching poetry. This lesson is a mini lesson, so it's concise. By the end of the lesson, you'll know everything that you need to know. The presentation, along with the guided notes, are available to print in my TPT store, and I'll be sure to link that in the video description. If you're using the guided notes, you should fill them in when you see this icon. If your teacher lets you work with a partner, you'll be turning and talking in certain portions. I hope you find this lesson fun and helpful. Let's dive in. Before we start writing, let's talk about our mentor text. Today, you will be learning about similes and metaphors and writing a poem using these poetic devices. It's always good to have a mentor text to refer to when learning new skills. It doesn't have to be in writing, however. Using songs is a great way to learn, especially with poetry. For this lesson, we will examine the song Firework by Katy Perry. Your teacher may prefer for you to use a different mentor text or song. If so, when you take notes, just substitute in what your teacher tells you to use. So right now, you're going to pause and you're going to use the song Firework by Katy Perry. I've attached a link to the song that shows you the lyrics in the video description, as well as a copy of the lyrics if you need it. So go ahead and pause my video and watch Firework by Kate. So, why do we need to know metaphors and similes? There's no doubt that you have been listening to songs which are poems with music. Hopefully, you've also written some poems. Note, if something is not a poem, it is referred to as prose. A regular novel, a letter, a contract are among the many items that are classified as prose. Prose does, however, contain similes and metaphors. Understanding similes and metaphors helps us to understand poems and prose, and it also helps us to become better writers. So, metaphors and similes, let's get on board. Today's goal is to understand that similes and metaphors are poetic devices where you compare two unlike objects. Understanding similes and metaphors will help you in your reading and writing. You will apply these skills to an original poem that you're going to write with me as we go along. So let's go over some definitions first. And if you're using the guided notes, you'll notice that there's an icon here and you want to start filling them in now. Similes and metaphors both compare objects, but they do it in a slightly different way. A simile is a comparison of two unlike objects using the words like or as. For example, your eyes are as blue as the sea. A metaphor is a comparison of two unlike objects also, but it does not use the words like or as. It uses the words is, was, are, and am. For example, morning is a new sheet of paper. I always say that a metaphor is kind of a stronger simile because you're not saying that it's like something, you're saying that it is something. Remember, you're comparing two unlike objects here. So a good example would not be the candy was as sweet as sugar because you would normally think of candy and sugar as being similar, but you wouldn't think of eyes and the sea as being similar. Okay, so now you're going to try it. You're going to turn and talk to your partner about the similes and metaphors used in the song. Then you'll create your own example. If you have the guided notes, you'll fill them in together and you're going to use the following prompts to help you. I think "Do you ever feel like a plastic bag" means I think "You're a firework" means some of the qualities of a firework, according to the song, are if I could compare myself to an object, it would be. And as a teacher note, if you're using a different mentor text or song, you're going to have your students discuss that instead. So pause my video and turn and talk. Okay, now we're going to try it again. So this lesson has a little bit less kind of note taking and a little bit exercises in similes and metaphors. Okay, you're going to fill in the blanks to create similes. You're going to either work with your partner and or fill in your guided notes. Remember, use the words like or as. Okay, so school is like. My teacher is as interesting as a. Chocolate is like. Summer vacation is as valuable as. Doing homework is as boring as. So pause my video and turn and talk and or fill in your guided notes. Okay, next we're going to try it with practicing metaphors. Now you're going to fill in the blanks to create metaphors. You're going to either work with your partner and or fill in your guided notes. Remember, do not use the words like or as here. Autumn is, the cafeteria is, my friend's personality is, coffee is, and summer is. Now remember, you're not just using an adjective here, you are comparing it to another object, so you're most likely going to be using a noun. Okay, so pause my video and turn and talk. Okay, now it's time to do some brainstorming. We're going to gather thoughts for your poem. You are going to write an original poem that will use similes and metaphors. It will be a color poem. Before you start, you're going to do some brainstorming. Turn and talk and come up with some ideas. Then fill in your guided notes brainstorm page or use your notebook if you're not using the guided notes. It is essential to think creatively rather than basically. So remember, poetry is an art form, and you can take some creative leaps here, right? Like where you're saying that morning is a new sheet of paper. You're really thinking more creatively rather than literally and basically. Okay, so here's what you're going to brainstorm. My color. First, you have to come up with a color. It can be any color you want. It can be a basic color or an unusual color like teal or magenta. Then you're going to list 3 items that are usually this color. When I see this color, I immediately think, if my color had a sound, it would sound like blank because blank. Right, so you want to fill in those blanks. If my color had feelings, it would feel blank because blank. If my color had a taste, it would taste like blank because blank. If my color had a scent, it would smell like blank because blank. Now remember, colors don't feel and colors don't have sounds, but you have to imagine it. Okay, so it might help you to think of the items as well. So pause the video and turn and talk and fill in your guided notes. So for this poem, you're going to use a template that will provide some structure. However, it's up to you to embellish it. That means adding lots of different ideas, not just a single word. Okay, so this is what you're going to be filling in. Don't do this yet. Just leave this blank. This is just your template. So we're not worried about filling in guided notes at this point. You will see it in there, but there's nothing that you need to do. I just want you to have the template. So step 1, you should have selected your color. It's preferable to use that color since you already did the brainstorming for it. The color will go in the first blank space of each line. So this is what you're going to do. This is an example for the color silver. You're just going to fill in the color. Don't fill in blanks yet, just the color. Pause the video and go ahead and fill in the color in your guided notes. Step 2 is to create your metaphors. So you're going to work on lines 1 through 3. Your job here is to create a metaphor for your color. Be sure to write more than just one word. Embellish your thoughts. An example has been done for you. So you're actually going to come up with 3 different metaphors, okay? And you can use some of the ideas from your brainstorm. So here's an example for silver. Silver is the night. Now, you notice I didn't just start with the word night. I embellished it, and that's what I'd like you to do. Silver is the night with millions of stars lighting a deep, dark sky. Silver is a dove. Embellish it now, right? Gliding through the trees, bringing peace and joy to those it visits. Silver is with the moon shimmering in a brilliant reflection. So now you're going to pause the video and fill this in. This might take a little bit of time. Your teacher might just want you to do one part and go back and do the other 2 later, but give it a try and make sure that you come up with a metaphor and that you embellish it. So pause my video and go ahead and do that. Step 3 is to create your similes. So you're going to work on lines 4 through 8. Your job here is to create similes for your color. Be sure to write more than one word. Embellish your thoughts. An example's been done for you. So you've already filled in your color and you're going to tell what it tastes like, smells like, sounds like, and looks like. So this might take a little bit of time. You should be filling in your guided notes, and here's an example. Silver tastes cold, glistening ice cream cone, speckled in joy. Silver smells like a candle. If you can see, guys, I'm coming up with my object. First, it's an ice cream cone, then a candle, and then I'm embellishing it, okay? Silver smells like a candle burning and flickering on a winter's. Silver sounds like bells ringing and chiming and singing to you. Silver feels like a dollar of yesterday, round, smooth, cool, and heavy. Silver looks like my age, sparkling wisps of hair peeking out through tangles of brown. Okay, so now you're going to turn and talk, pause the video, fill in your guided notes. Again, you might just want to fill in 1 or 2 and then go back and fill in the rest after the lesson. Step 4 is to get creative. You're going to work on lines 9 through 10. Your job here is to think creatively about your color. Be sure to write more than just one word. Embellish your thoughts. An example has been done for you. So you're going to do makes you whatever. It can be an adjective. It can be any way you'd like to think. And silver is. So it's another metaphor, okay? Kind of tying up the whole poem. So for example, silver makes me elegant, no longer struggling with the burden of my past. Silver is the ring on my finger binding me to my true love free. Okay, pause my video and fill in your guided notes. Okay, so step 5 is to come up with a title and to kind of put it all together and review it. So now's the time to come up with a title. You can pull it from a line from your poem, create something completely different. When your poem is complete, read it out loud to yourself and or a partner, hopefully. Maybe make some tweaks and some changes. Sometimes it's a good idea to come back to your poem on another day for some fresh ideas. So all I've done here is I decided to call my poem a silver lining. Silver lining is actually an idiom. It's an expression meaning that every cloud has a silver lining, so out of everything bad comes something good, and I kind of like that. So that became my title. This is my entire poem, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to put it all together. So you're going to pause my video, or you're just going to stop the video after this and you're going to get to work on finishing your poem. And that is a wrap as far as our lesson goes. You're going to go back and finish all of your work on your poem, and you're going to have an incredible poem when you're finished. I would love it if you would drop your poems in the comment section, or maybe your favorite line from your poem in the comment section of the video. And be sure to tune back in for more Teach My Class episodes. You can also check out First Chapter Friday on my YouTube channel, where I'll read the first chapters of my favorite middle school novels. Hope to see you soon.